As you know, Rick, we surveyed all the employees and came back with some questions that they had regarding your career, your 50th year in the foundry industry this year, and you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot of ups and downs and seen a lot of companies come and go. And so we wanted to give the employees an opportunity to reach out to you and hear from you directly on your 50-year career in the foundry industry. One of the questions was, how did you get into the foundry industry, and what was your first job in the foundry?
I got into the foundry industry to pay for an education. My mother and father were great people, but I couldn't afford to send me or my siblings to school, so we had to earn our own way. And at that time, Auburn Foundry hired summer employees. And so I went to work the day I graduated from high school on third shift in the cleaning room, grinding castings, and then also doing cleanup work, shoveling sand. I learned what the right end of a D-handled shovel was and made enough money to pay for my first year of college at Tri-State College at the time, which is now Trine University. So no grand plan, but just a way to pay for education in engineering.
Was there ever a time that you thought you would want to quit during that summer?
I had worked since I was 13 or 14, and it wasn't an option. You know, you just expected to do it, and I never thought about quitting. So
we talked about this before, but how did you make the connection with Auburn Foundry? Were you looking for jobs in a lot of different other places, or did you have a connection there?
Not at that time, but just they were hiring, and
yeah,
a lot of summer help, and I was working 2 jobs that summer, so I was able to, with third shift in, and I'd work another job during the day. So it wasn't, it was pretty much make as much money as I could, however I had to do it, and the foundry afforded that. So.
Did you ever see yourself becoming a chairman or owner of a company like MTI when you started your career?
Not when I started. I think that sometimes it's good to be lucky. But I think I was well prepared to take the next step when it was offered to me. So when Dick Fink came to me and asked me to be general manager, I didn't feel any fear of doing that. I felt I could do the job. I didn't maybe feel I had the same technical ability Reisman had, but I had the business side of it. So I had to lean into a lot of the guys that he probably wouldn't have leaned into. And when I became president, I gave me an opportunity to do some things, and he fully backed me. And that's when we moved into Mexico for the first time with T-Somatic, and moved into Europe with the acquisition of Gina. And then before I left, we started and built what's now MTA. But no, I really never aspired, to be honest with you, to be the top guy, but when the opportunity developed itself, and I was, in 1990, I would have been 37, 38 years old. I wasn't afraid to do it, and I felt I had good people around me that I could trust, and we took off and tried to do something good with it. And when we started MTI, and I think I never had any really sleepless nights about buying WGI, or 2 years later taking on Three Rivers, or taking on the other Briggs plants, or moving in other areas. And I think that I felt that pretty comfortable doing that, and there was risk in it, but never felt the risk was
back then. We've talked about this before. We didn't have a lot to lose. Do you think it's different when you don't have a lot to lose versus once you've made it a little bit?
No, I don't think so. Not for me. I think we had a lot. I mean, we didn't talk about it, but your mother and me, we signed everything on the dotted line. I mean, it was basically an all-in game, and Keith Turner did the same thing, but I never had any concern about it. I knew the industry. We had the relationships. We knew the customers, knew how to operate a foundry, and I think we were able to get the team up there working with us, and in short order it worked out. And so I never saw the risk in it that was that big. And plus we had tremendous backing out of Briggs & Stratton with a supply contract and their desire to help us succeed. So we had all the things in place to be successful. So I never worried about that. I never worried about it when we took over Three Rivers after we reached a deal with Fitz, or when we bought the other Briggs foundries, because I think there was a culture there among everybody that was involved to be successful. And that's how things work out. When everybody gets pointed in the same direction, and maybe I was able to pull that together in a way that made that happen, but it took everybody's willingness to work that way. And so same thing with our banking relationships with the guys at Fort Wayne National and you know, Mike Eikenberry and Jim Johnson, but more importantly, Greg Riker. Greg was willing to take a chance and bank us, and Greg comes on and becomes our CFO for a period of years. So I think those relationships that we were able to build up during my tenure at Auburn Foundry, and the willingness to take a step forward, plus the team that we're able to put together, you know, made it pretty. There's always risk, but made it manageable risk in my view. Yeah.
You mentioned some names already, but who are some of the most influential people in your career?
In the business, well, Reisman for sure. I mean, we worked closely together for a lot of years.
Dick Fink, I know.
Dick Fink, not quite as close with Dick, but Dick was good to me. Some of the guys that worked in the foundry, you know, names nobody would know, but guys that worked out in the foundry. You know, John Sherwood, who was the head of the molding department, he helped me a lot learning the molding. Cleo Sherwood, you know, a guy that ran the melt department, you know, Dick Owsley in the desematic area. You know, I got exposed to a lot of people, a lot of knowledge that, you know, I kept my mouth shut, my ears open, you learn a lot, you know, and so those guys, you know, there were guys that nobody would know today, but taught me an awful lot. And I think Reisman, certainly from the foundry standpoint, and I worked with him closely with customers and met a lot of people. But, you know, he pretty much handed the customer situation over to me. So you know, Hillsdale Tool at the time was ran by Marlon Potter, and Marlon was good to me, and you know, Bob Navarre up at Simpson at the time. Just a lot of people that I met that, you know, why would they take a 25, 26-year-old kid and give him the time of day? But were really helpful to me in getting established. But past that, you know, then the guys, you know, like Jim Wyatt, Briggs, that opened the door for us there, and Tom Savage and Fred Stratton, all those guys took a chance, and you ask yourself, why did that happen? You know, why did they take a chance on us? But and so I think if you just treat people and you keep, you know, and are willing to show that you got the desire to work hard and make it happen, good things happen. Yeah. If you sit back and think you're entitled to success, nothing good's going to happen.
You also had some long time, you know, even outside the industry, long time advisors on the banking side, legal. I think that's one thing that you've done is you've reached out to a broad spectrum of people, you know, to get advice.
Tim Hafner, you know, has been with us ever since we started the company. Like I said, Eikenberry, Johnson, Greg, he's still on our board. Keith Turner was a great partner for us. Keith was a great technical guy in the terms of engineering, took that load off of me. He kind of took care of that aspect, and then we had, you know, Bob and Ed and those guys, and, you know, they all kind of worked together, and others, you know, that came on. Pat Frederick took a leap of faith, came with us. Jeff Durbin, John Niger, I mean, all those guys had to jump into the boat. Doug Monroe, I mean, all of them were there, and I think they've all done well by being part of this, and I feel good about that they've all been able to retire out and have a good retirement and do all that. So it's not any one person per se. You know, outside of the company, later years, you know, guys like Ian Rowland and people like that I've had a chance to meet that have run big corporations that give you a real big perspective on not just how you run businesses, but how you take that and give back and do things like that. So,
what has been the most rewarding part of your career?
No, I think working with, you know, I mean, people may not believe this because I can be kind of a crusty curmudgeon at times, but I think working with people in the organization, we've had a lot of success. I've enjoyed that. At least I've enjoyed it. Maybe others haven't had the same pleasure out of it. But I think the fact that we've been able to take something and create opportunity for a lot of people, and I think that's made me feel good. And being able to take that success and then and play it back, and being able to even do what we've done through the foundation and other things in the community, help others have a chance for a little better life. So that part of it feels like it's worth it, you know.
50 years is a long time. Why have you stayed working so long?
I like to work. I don't think that, I don't think I'll ever stop wanting to be involved in something. So whether it's, maybe it's not the foundry business for me anymore, but there's other things I have interest in. And I think it's a bad place to be when you stop being inquisitive and learning. So I'll always stay, God willing and health-wise, active in something, and may not be in this business anymore to the extent it was, but there's other things that doors have opened up that we've stepped through, Vicki and me, and it's been rewarding to do that. So,
Well, that's all the questions I have. I wanted to thank you for your time and
Yeah.
Congratulations on
Yeah, 50
50
years.
years. It's an impressive accomplishment, and again, you've given back to a lot of people and created a lot of opportunity.
Thanks.
And been a great mentor for me as well as father, so I appreciate
Well, thanks,
that
Matt.
a lot. So,
Okay, thank you.
you.
Yep,
Yep.
you're welcome.